It only takes 3 letters to complicate the conversation around a filmmaker. I, A, and N. David Lynch is easy to define. He's an American filmmaker. Lynchian, on the other hand, as a style or effect, is not. Film fans are eager to describe any new movie or show as being Lynchian, but less eager to define what those 3 little letters actually mean. David Foster Wallace's admittedly academic-sounding definition of Lynchian was a particular kind of irony where the very macabre and the very mundane combine in such a way as to reveal the former's perpetual containment within the latter. That is to say, David Lynch's films explore how normal places and things can actually contain horrifying and strange qualities. And ever since Wallace wrote this essay, every Lynch fan has been throwing their hat in the ring to give their own definition. And while I find most of these definitions and explanations all well and good, I don't believe any one word or explanation can define the entirety of his or any artist's work. After all, his movies aren't puzzle boxes. They are art, and we are meant to dialogue with them. But having said that, I've personally come up with my own vocabulary to describe what I think Lynch is getting at with his films. I believe his movies have a common interest or approach, and I would connect that approach with a very ancient tradition: apocalypse. No, not that kind of apocalypse. I'm talking about apocalyptic as an ancient literary genre. In Greek, apocalypsis means to reveal or uncover. It doesn't actually have anything to do with the end of the world. A helpful way I've heard it explained is to imagine someone pulling back the curtain of a play to reveal what's going on behind the scenes.
Oh, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This was a fairly common type of literature in the first century, most notably featured in the biblical book of Revelation. Apocalypse was a way for ancient writers to have a divine entity reveal what was really going on in the world. It was a way to critique empires using imaginative imagery like dragons, falling stars, giant beasts, to expose that empire's true allegiances. While David Lynch's films cannot precisely be defined as ancient apocalyptic literature, I still believe the definition of the word applies to his work. What is the opening shot of Blue Velvet if not an unveiling? Blue skies, bright red roses, a white picket fence, a smiling fireman driving by. This is the idyllic portrait of the America we all grow up with. This is the surface. But then, all of a sudden, this picturesque portrait of the country is interrupted by the sudden heart attack of a man watering his lawn, and then a close-up of the squirming, festering ants eating away at it all. In an interview with Chris Rodley, Lynch says, "My childhood was elegant homes, green grass, cherry trees, middle America as it's supposed to be. But on the cherry tree, there's this pitch oozing out. Some black, some yellow, and millions of red ants crawling all over it. I discovered that if one looks a little closer at this beautiful world, there are always red ants underneath." Twin Peaks follows a quaint northwestern town basking in soft soap opera lighting where everyone speaks with a folksy slang, a town where everyone convenes at a diner that serves
a cherry pie,
best in the Tri-Counties,
and a
damn fine cup of coffee.
That town is then shattered when the body of the local sweetheart, Laura Palmer, is found by the water. The power of Twin Peaks lies in how the circumstances of Laura's death, drugs, prostitution of minors, family abuse, aren't an aberration imposing on the innocence of the town, but rather are revealed to be the town's true identity. The folksy charm of Twin Peaks is pulled back to reveal an uncomfortable picture of a country that hides the abuses of young women. Likewise, Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire are, in part, unveilings of how Hollywood preys upon young actresses. The lights and glamour of a movie set hide the insidious motives of men lurking in the shadows. There is a difference between the way America wants to be seen and how the country really is. One might argue Lynch is critiquing a version of this country that is long gone, no longer relevant. The split personality of the 1950s Americana is behind us, right? But that's what makes his version of Apocalypse so revelatory today. There is now a large contingent in this country that wants to go back. They envision a return to an earlier America where things were simpler and well-mannered. I think this is one of the impulses Lynch had on his mind when making Twin Peaks: The Return. Not only is he deconstructing and commenting on the impulse to bring back all our favorite shows, but Lynch once again is pulling back the curtain to reveal what lies beneath the surface of those memories. Pulling Laura out of time will do nothing to fix the systems that abused her. It actually only makes things worse. It's no coincidence, then, that a common image in Twin Peaks is of a red curtain. The Red Room/Black Lodge functions very much as the backstage unveiling of apocalyptic literature. It's a confounding and mysterious setting that defies logic, one where malevolent entities like Bob roam. Episode 8 of The Return insinuates that these entities like Bob infect the world and spread through real historic atrocities, the atomic bomb, for instance. This scene is comparable to the dragon of Revelation being thrown down from heaven, or Rome being symbolized by a prostitute. Real horrors are symbolized with graphic imagery. Bob is an apocalyptic symbol for how trauma spreads. The revelation of Lynch exists to unveil what's underneath. Taking his work too literally, just like with the Bible, can lead to confusion or misguided interpretations that completely obfuscates his core message. That this country, and our memories of it, have an underbelly. When we sit down to watch one of his films, comfortable in our idyllic homes and safe communities, Lynch is there to reveal to us that our collective American dream may actually be a nightmare.